he's not necessarily everyone's top ranked wide receiver, but he is many people's wide receiver one. And with that being said, maybe let's start with a spoiler for our rankings coming later, like we did last episode with Caleb Williams. Is Marvin Harrison Jr. your wide receiver one?
Yes, he is. Next. Like that this wasn't even a question for me. I mean, 21 years old, 3 years at Ohio State, 6'3" and a quarter inch, 209 pounds, like back-to-back seasons with 1,200 receiving yards, 14 touchdowns, the 2023 Fred Biletnikoff winner. Like, what can't Marvin Harrison Jr. do at his size? I don't know that there's really anything.
Yeah, no, it's everything that he does, right? Like you said, it just can't get over just kind of how much of a natural he is really in like all aspects of his position. And yeah, maybe, that shouldn't come as a surprise considering he's the son of a Hall of Fame wide receiver in Marvin Harrison Sr., right? But it's still so impressive to watch him, break his routes at the exact right moments, send corners in the wrong direction, fight through contact versus press, and use his weight and momentum to just make space at the right time to come down with the ball cleanly. Like everything that he does, it looks effortless. His adjustments on the ball as well. And there are definitely times where he has to adjust. A lot of times I found actually, at least relative to the top two guys, he's not, or the other top two guys, he's not getting, kind of the same level of quarterback play that a Neighbors or even Odunze is getting, which, when watching him, I know one of the knocks on him has been that kind of yak ability, and it's on the lower end, sure, the 32nd percentile among prospects since 2019, but I think part of it is that he's not always getting the ball in stride either, or nearly as often as some of these other wide receivers who we'll talk about in a bit that are getting much better quarterback play. So that played into it with me. And I mean, we can get into some of the production numbers from him as well, but like just elite, absolutely ridiculous production for his position. 2.98 career yards per route run, 93rd percentile since 2019. 91.3 career receiving grade, was 94th percentile. 2.87 yards per route run lined up in the slot, or lined up wide, which was 86th percentile. 3.63 yards per route run from the slot, which was 92nd percentile. 45.8% explosive play rate, 94th percentile. 94.5 receiving grade versus single coverage was 98th percentile. 4.63 yards per route run versus single coverage, 89th percentile, and a 17% first down and touchdown rate is 98th percentile. So everything
ridiculous
is at an elite level, right?
Everything he does is at an elite level. And I really like what you mentioned about just everything looking so natural and so easy. And I will say, for a player of his size, that's not always the case. Like, what you love about him, he's a threat at every level of the field. He's got quicker feet than you would guess for a guy with that long a frame. He's a smooth route runner, again, for a man of any size, but especially for a guy of his frame. Elite body control. And really, the only knock I think you can come up with is the yards after the catch ability. But like, for instance, in the 2023 season, ranked in the 37th percentile in catchable target rate, that does have a sincere impact on your ability to reel in yards after the catch, because that elite ball placement can maximize so much for what you're able to do after the catch point. And it's something that Marvin Harrison Jr., in comparison to a Malik Neighbors, didn't really have the benefit of.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes a huge difference, right? And like, you consider that catchable pass rate and he's still putting this level of production up. Like, it's just
Ridiculous.
unbelievable. Yeah. So I mean, the guy he's a true like alpha wide receiver, right? In every sense of the word. I think he's landing spot proof. He's going to step into an offense and be the clear wide receiver one. There's not many that are going to steal targets from him. I think he's going to elevate whoever his NFL quarterback ends up being as well. Like, let's just say Marvin Harrison Jr. is him, right? Like he's so him. He could probably change his name to Marv Him Harris Him.
Wow.
The first at this point.
And that's it for today's PFF
There
Fantasy Podcast. We got to end there. We got to end there on a high note. I don't know.
Yeah,
but I think what like, what isn't there to be said for Marvin Harrison Jr.? He's as pro ready as it comes. Like,
Yeah.
you love the pedigree, you love the fact that he's been mentored by a Hall of Fame wide receiver literally since birth. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, I know for a lot of NFL teams right now, Malik Neighbors is their top end wide receiver, but
Right.
I honestly think it's because Marvin Harrison Jr. is so good at everything, it's almost boring. And that's not any, like, it for as much flash as Malik Neighbors has, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. has as much flash, but because he's so good at everything, it sometimes, like, when you're so good at everything, it doesn't feel as meaningful or impactful, and I feel like that's the only thing we can come up with Marvin Harrison Jr. He's
Yeah.
so far my wide receiver 1, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, and yeah, sure, it seems too good to be true type thing. Whatever the case is, that they wouldn't have him as wide receiver one, but I'm all in. He's wide receiver one for me as well. I'd be taking him first overall in rookie drafts, any chance I get.